Speak on this, man. I already made a video about it, then I deleted it. But I've been thinking about this all day. It kind of ruined my day, man. I'm gonna blaze this up after I finish talking to y'all and just sit back and give it to the universe. So, when I'm on Facebook, man, I make videos just like I do on this channel, right? And on Facebook, I tell stories about my life and the things that I've been through. And I never claimed to be a big drug dealer. That's not the point. Most people aren't big drug dealers. Most people can relate to my story because, first of all, most people aren't selling keys. Most people are getting fronted by somebody. You understand? So my experience is at 20 years old, I ran across a plug, a guy who just came home from the feds. He did 10 years and he saw something in me that he liked. And he before he went to the feds, when he was still on the streets, he was a real street ghetto dude. He got the permanent goals. In my city, if they got permanent goals, that means they're 90s gangsters. And this dude, when he came home, he had a different mindset. He had been to the feds and he had met a bunch of different people, and his mind was expanded. So when he met me, he didn't judge me as some wannabe or whatever. He liked me because I was genuine and he wanted to see me win. His whole thing was, I like this kid because this kid has good clientele. His clientele is uh, pharmacists, white dudes, good white dudes, nice white dudes, suburban civilian white dudes, and he liked that. And I think when he got out the feds, he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna hustle weed. I'm not gonna hustle what I used to hustle, the harder drugs, and I'm gonna try to hustle different." So when he saw me coming, I met my plug like this. My homeboys knew him first, and they were getting the weed, and I was getting it from them, but they were taxing me. So I seen the plug at a bar one night and I recognized him because I seen my homeboys holler at him. So I stepped to him and tell him who I am. And he's older than me by 10 years. So when I'm encountering people who are 10 years older than me, I always drop my brother's name and my sister's name. And they are certified in the hood. I'm their little brother. You know what I mean? And once I mention their name, a lot of people know who I am because they know them. They're like, "Oh, okay, I remember you when you was a baby." So that's why I dropped their names. And he was like, "Yo, I know your sister, I know your brother. Yeah, man, you don't you can come straight to me." And it was a beautiful relationship. And when I got hemmed up, I'm not a street dude. So of course, judging me, people are gonna assume, oh, he's gonna snitch. But I didn't snitch. The whole time I was going through my case, I was talking to my plug and I cut off contact with him. And it was a felony. It was my first felony. I had four possession of marijuanas before that. So I did like a month in jail, but I was a felon. I did like 4 years on probation. But he came to me after the trial was over and after I got out of jail, and he was giving me more weed and stuff. And he was like, "Yo, it's all on you. If you want to continue to hustle, I got you." And I decided not to. But he respected me because I didn't tell on him. You understand what I'm saying? And I mean, why would I tell on him? I've always been the kind of guy who knew my limits. I never sold coke. I never sold dope because I understood that that's not for me. I never shot nobody or anything like that because I know that I don't want to go to jail for that. I dealt with weed specifically because I knew that I could handle the consequences, right? But, on Facebook, I tell my tales. I'm telling my story. I'm 32 years old now, so I feel like there's a generation under me that can benefit from my stories because nowadays the generation that's coming of age now, they might be able to relate to me, somebody who's not really your stereotypical gangster, somebody who kind of slipped into that world by mistake. You know what I mean? So I feel like I got a relatable message to anybody, street people, regular suburban people, whatever. So this dude who I grew up, I consider him, you know how it is. You might, like, say you got an older brother who's 10 years older than you and an older sister who's 10 years older than you. Their friends knew you when you were a baby. So this guy, Steve, is in that category. He knew me when I was a baby. And I remember going to his house with my older brother in the 90s. He had the Nintendo and all that. So Steve is about 15 years older than me. And he knows me because I'm the little brother of his old friend. They're not friends anymore, but you have a special place in your heart for people like that because they remember you from back in the day. So as I post this video, I'm talking like, yo, I didn't use nobody's names and nothing. I just said, yo, my barber introduced me to a man in his 50s that snitched on me. And I said I felt like he misguided me and misled me because he told me that he knew that guy personally and that guy was a good family man. Then I found out he didn't really know him like that. He didn't really know him like that. So Steve jumps in the comments, man, and he's like, yo, he really was offended by me saying, don't, because in the video I said, if you're young, don't trust no old heads, because I made that mistake. And I think that was the line that set him off. But obviously, he had been looking at my videos for a long time without commenting, but he was secretly mad at me. And it finally erupted. He was like, yo, you trying to front like you this big kingpin. Here you are crying about QP of weed, and you trying to encourage the youth to sell drugs. You need to be telling them to stop. And it's just like, dude, you're not going to let me tell my story? So I can't tell my story because I didn't get caught with enough drugs. So the fact that I became a felon, even though I was in college and I suffered from depression and suicidal thoughts, and I got over that and I actually got my record pardoned, you mean to tell me I can't give anybody any information or advice? So I'm totally disqualified? And it just makes me think, man, they say that the people that know you the best will never support you. I met strangers on the internet who treat me better than some of the people I grew up with. You know what I mean? And it's sad, it makes me think everybody has an opinion about everything. I just don't understand, why is it that people get so upset about the fact that I have an opinion, you have an opinion. People always feel the need to. I mean, you're intruding into my Facebook page. You never talked to. I haven't seen this guy since I was 20, and when I did see him at 20, it was only for 10 minutes at a dice game. Previously to that, I hadn't seen him since I was 5 years old, and I barely remember him. But I always respect him because I know that's Steve from back in the day. So it just made me look at things, and it kind of pissed me off because it's just like, he's telling me, yo, you a good kid. And it's like he's trying to say that my experience doesn't matter because I'm not this stereotypical gangster with gold teeth. I've never shot anybody. So basically, he's saying I don't have the right to speak on this stuff. You understand what I'm saying? And I just, guys like that, they just, I don't know, man. It makes me want to go harder just to let them know I do matter. My story does matter. You understand what I'm saying? It does matter. You understand? And it's just like this, man. In life, the people that you think will support you, because I mean, I don't care if Steve supports me or not. I don't even really know him like that. But what I'm saying is, instead of addressing me in the DM or whatever, he decided to embarrass me in a public platform. So I blocked him. And if I ever run into him in real life, I don't. He's a garbage truck driver, whatever. I might see him in traffic one day. I'm going to ignore him, and I lost a lot of respect for him, man, because I mean, this guy was watching my videos for all of this time, and deep down, he's thinking he's a liar, he's exaggerating, and it finally spilled out when I made that comment about old heads. But you got to understand something. I have a right to speak my mind, just like you got a right to speak your mind. I don't have to go to Steve before I make a post and say, hey, Steve, do you approve of everything I said? Is this okay? This doesn't hurt your feelings, does it? And it's just like, man, I'm 32 years old, man. And sometimes in order to grow, you got to separate from your circle, and I think that's true. Like they say, you can't be you can't be a prophet in your own city. You got to travel to other places, man. And yeah, man, it was a wake up call for me to get that type of response from somebody. And it just lets me know that I'm built for it. Because when you're in this public space, people are going to criticize you, people are going to judge you, and and Steve, honestly speaking, he's not even intelligent enough to even talk to me. Steve has a very low IQ. He doesn't type well. He has bad grammar. And 9 times out of 10, in his little ape-like Neanderthal brain, he probably misunderstood everything that I said because he doesn't even understand what I'm saying. First of all, he's hearing words and he's not even really understanding the context. He's just getting angry at words. Old head, don't trust the old. I mean, it's just like, man, when somebody who has a very low IQ tries to intellectually spar with somebody who has a much higher IQ than them, it's always bad because the person who's stupid, they're offended by something that they think, but really they don't even understand what you're saying because they're too stupid to understand it. Yeah, Steve is doing good. He's a garbage truck driver, but at the end of the day, Steve doesn't even know how to type without making mistakes. Everything he says is errors, errors, errors. And I just be like, dude, you're not even intellectually ready to you don't even know what I'm really saying. That's why a lot of times when people get offended, I always ask them first, what did you think I say first? What was your perception of what I said? Just to make sure that they understand. Because a lot of times it's a misunderstanding. But like I said, man, push through. If you got haters, that are coming out your own hometown, that's normal. That's a part of the process. Keep pushing, man. Be yourself. Don't let anybody come into your life and say you're not allowed to do what you want to do. Just because you remember me as a child, what does that mean? I'm a grown man now. I can speak when I want to speak. So yeah, man. Peace.